Morning. Happy Wednesday. Not Monday. Woo. All right. We're gonna have fun today. Um, Happy Wednesday, friends. I am so glad that we get to be on here this morning together because I have an important topic for us to cover. And if you're watching and you're not a part of our community, you're not getting these reminders, this information, I highly recommend that you pause and watch this one because we're going to talk about capacity versus capability and how to pretty much avoid burnout. So if that is something that you're interested in, come hang out and watch. So, I guess let's just start going. So today we're talking about something almost every high-performing woman CEO struggles with, but rarely names correctly. You are not burned out because you lack capability. You are burned out because you've exceeded your capacity. And so those two things are just not the same. Capability is Capability is a skill. It's talent, it's intelligence, it's experience. Capacity is bandwidth, it's margin, it's energy, systems, team support. So most of you are abundantly capable, and that's not the issue. The issue is you built a business that requires more capacity than your current structure can sustainably support. That's not a personal flaw, that's a leadership gap. So let's start with defining the problem and break it down clearly, because you know me, clarity is my favorite. So, capability is going to answer, can I do this? Capacity answers, should I be the one doing this right now? It's a huge difference. And at the CEO Woman, we use this constantly because a woman joins business school or a roundtable and she's brilliant. Her offers are solid, her expertise is deep, her clients love her, but she's exhausted. When we audit her calendar, here's what we see. We see that she wears the marketing hat, the salesperson hat, the service provider, the bookkeeper, the tech, the support, the content creation, the visionary, the doer, the implementer. Oh my gosh, it's so much. You just cannot be everything for everyone all the time. I know you like to think you can, but you can't. You cannot do everything and do it well, but you can do things for a season. And that boost of overexerting yourself can easily be turned into you're not allowed to rest until you've experienced that momentum, that perceived momentum. If you feel like you're having a hard time managing it all, like you're overwhelmed, you feel like you can't sustainably carry all of it, that's where burnout it starts right there. Burnout is rarely about incompetence, and it's mostly about mismanaged capacity. And so, getting a clear understanding between the differences is what's going to help you get control over your life and help you have the power to design your life the way you want it to be versus letting life happen to you. Now, the three capacity leaks that I see consistently when talking with women CEOs is like silent drains on the business. And as an example, like if you're operating too many roles, every growing business has three major functions. So you have vision, revenue, and delivery. In the early stages, you wear all three hats, and that's normal. But if you never intentionally transition out of that last one where you're stuck implementing in your business, you're stuck in an employee role, what that does is it's like you created a really nice job for yourself. And that might have been your goal. That's not a bad thing. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. But if your goal is to scale, then this is important for you because you intentionally want to drive your business towards your vision. At the CEO Woman, when we scale our programming, like the summit, the business school, sisterhood, marketing Mondays, we had to shift roles intentionally in systems and delegation and clear lanes because not everybody was in the right seat in our bus, so to speak. And we needed to make changes that benefit everyone, benefit the internal culture, benefit the individual roles, benefit client, experience, and so on. So finding a way to grow without it crushing you is really the goal. You don't want your business to get so big so fast that you lose it. And so if you if you think about your business as a trying to think of an example. If you think about your business as you've got to be everything for it, then your business has no legacy to leave. There's no like growing young or anything like that. And we want to see your businesses grow young, meaning that they attract the next generation of audience so that you're continuing to have a sustainable business for a long time. Um, you might also feel overwhelmed by capacity, like if your systems are immature, or like if onboarding takes 10 emails and a prayer, that's not a people problem, that's a system problem. And if content creation depends on your mood, that's not a creativity problem, that's a structure problem. So scaling requires operational maturity. You are the one making the decisions emotionally instead of strategically. And when that happens, if you are the one that does that, if that happens to you, you're going to be overcommitting, you're going to be underpricing, and you're going to say yes to things you shouldn't be saying yes to. So when your yes, when your yes consumes your capacity, your capacity becomes less while you take on more, is probably the best way to put that. And so we want to not have that be the reality. We want you as the CEO to be growing your business, working on your business, looking forward for your business, being the captain of the ship, so to speak. Really going, our vision is this, our vision is this is where we're going, and giving everyone on your team, including all the hats you wear, permission to show up with intention for the business as it is. Some of you are probably think there may be a group of you that says, I don't need more clients. I have more than I can handle already. I would argue that in a loving and caring way that they don't, they may not need more clients, but they probably need more margin, clearer offers, stronger positioning, operational support. Capability makes you money. And so capacity is going to be the thing that determines whether you keep it or survive it. And if your goal is to make money, you want to have capability of making that money. You want to have the capacity to fulfill that promise that you've committed to. And there is a way to see the shift inside our community. Um, this is the way this is where we see the shift in our community is women coming in as being doers in their businesses. But really, yes, especially the startup phase, but what we want to do is we want to see you walk in your CEO energy. And really, the difference is like from being a manager to being a CEO, the difference is managers are implementers. So their job is to implement or execute, whatever word you like, the required work to be done, where a leader, their job is to see the high level picture and guide the people working down the pathway towards the vision. So as the CEO of your business, you have to be aware of your capacity before you like invite more capable projects and work that come your way, because you want to ensure that you are not saying yes to the wrong things that are going to lead your business into a deficit of some sort. Now, I want to do a live audit with you. So if you can grab some paper, grab paper and a pen, and I want you to write down everything you are responsible for in your business now. So take a minute to write down. Maybe you create content and copywriting and graphic design. Those are three different roles. Maybe you're HR, you're legal, and you're the director and the manager, plus the CEO. But write every single role that you are playing, or not role, but everything you're responsible for in your business right now. And then circle only the things that require your unique genius. I'm going to say that again. Circle only the things that require your unique genius. Now, what you can do, it's not only about what you can do, it's what only you should be doing. um, you started a business because you have a skill set, and that skill set translated into revenue generating opportunity. You've mastered that skill set. So now it's time to delegate. And letting go can be one of the hardest things to do because you want it done a specific way with a specific outcome and a specific experience for the clients. And so that desire to control every aspect of your business at that level, at that granular level, is going to hold your business back from growing. If you can't trust the people you're working with, why are you working with them? Fire them, get new ones. Find people you trust to work with. But you want to be mindful of looking for the gap here. So not what you can do, but what only you should be doing. And whatever that is, that gap there, that's your capacity gap. And that's where growth becomes unsustainable. So you've got to find the gap. So write down everything, all the responsibilities for your business that you hold right now. Circle only the things that require your unique genius, and then find the capacity gap. I just want to refresh my screen for a second. Awesome. There you are. Okay, now that we've taken some time to work through the differences between capacity and capability, and you've got your list, hopefully, the the next thing I want to talk about is how to identify that burnout. It can be really overwhelming to be burnt out because you can experience it in different ways, but for me, when I hit my burnout, it felt like nothing was automatic anymore. So you get up and you make 100 decisions every morning automatically. You take a shower, you brush your teeth, you cook breakfast, you drink water, you go for a walk, maybe your exercise, like your body is doing things on autopilot. But when you hit a state of burnout, what it can feel like is internal paralysis. Everything has to be thought, including the movement of your hand. Like you're like, oh, I'm really thirsty, I'm really thirsty. And then you can't move. But you're like sitting there going, I'm really thirsty, I'm really thirsty. And all you have to do is stand up and go get a cup of water, but you can't process it. Burnout is very real. And it comes when our capacity is overstretched for an extended period of time. And then our bodies will eventually just say, "You're not listening to me. So I'm going to shut you down and I'm going to rest because that's what I need as a body." And so when you are experiencing burnout, there's a lot of different ways um, to both recover and to recover. Um, yeah. So the difference between the difference between I'm tired and being burnt out is burnout is a chronic state of stress with no recovery cycle. So, like, if you're tired and you're absent of sleep for a period of time because maybe you got a newborn at home, they never sleep, or stress or whatever is keeping you from sleeping. But eventually, you do go to sleep, and eventually, you do feel a little bit better. That's not burnout. That's just being tired. So, the core markers for you to identify um, the possible burnout, whether or not you're in a burnout state, is emotional exhaustion, cynicism and detachment, and reduced sense of effectiveness. And what that translates to is you're drained, you care less, and you start doubting your impact. And it's not laziness. So if you experience something similar to this, or have been in a state of burnout, or are actively in a state of burnout, this is not laziness. This is nervous systems that have been like redlining for too long, essentially. It's like you're driving your car for a long time and that check engine light's been on for a while, but you haven't dealt with it. Risky move. But your nervous system will tell you when you need to rest. And I think that I think that an uncomfortable truth for all high performing women CEOs, and probably for anyone, but uncomfortable truth is that we should not be earning our rest. We should be earning our work. Meaning you shouldn't be asking yourself, did I do enough work to earn going to bed, to earn taking a nap, to earn sleeping in? The question should be, did I get enough quality rest to earn going to my job? Because if you can spend 2 concentrated hours focused at 100% on your business versus 6 unconcentrated hours, you are going to find that you move faster and more thorough through these different seasons of life. Now, burnout really comes from working hard. And I feel like this is important to mention. It usually comes from lack of control, lack of clarity, or lack of recovery. So, hard work might feel purposeful, and it is. It is definitely purposeful, but it also encompasses capacity. And so, if you think about it like this, your brain runs on stress hormones like cortisol. And it, in short little like bursts, the cortisol comes and it's fantastic, right? It sharpens your focus, it mobilizes your energy, it helps you close the deal and lead teams, right? That little burst is like, awesome, I'm focused. But when your cortisol stays elevated for months, your body interprets that as a threat. And trust me, like I have been in this season. It is crazy how your email can make your body go into a fight, flight, freeze, fawn state. Sleep suffers, your immune function drops, your decision making becomes really challenging and inconsistent. And really, you just get flattened creatively. That's kind of like what the long-term effect is. And it's the very traits that made you successful are they're going to erode eventually because it's not foundational practices for yourself or for your business. Burnout is not a character flaw. So if you're in a state of burnout, I want to make sure you know that it is not a character flaw. It's a systems error, meaning your boundaries are being overstepped, likely by your own decisions, and you need to fix it. It's a systems error. Now, let's talk about recovery because this is where most advice goes sideways. Recovery is not getting a massage, it's not taking a weekend off, it's not going for a facial, it's not getting your nails done. That's not recovery. Recovery is structural and it has multiple layers. So there's the physiological recovery, and physiological recovery falls under the category of sleep, nutrition, movement, light exposure, nervous system regulation. So if you're sleeping 5 hours and calling it hustle, your biology will eventually invoice you back. It keeps the score. If you've not read that book, The Body Keeps the Score, I highly recommend it. It will help you, it'll be eye-opening for you. But physiological recovery requires probably like 7 to 9 hours of sleep consistently in a row, night after night, nutritionally dense food, physical movement, exercise of some sort, and then go outside in the sunlight. Like, don't forget about the sun. We need the sun. Now, physiological recovery is different from the second category, which is cognitive recovery. Your brain needs margin. It gets tired. Your brain needs margin. And what that means is you need unscheduled, scheduled time so that you can deep focus, create deep focus blocks instead of constantly switching gears all the time. It also helps reduce your notification load. So if you have like time blocked that you say, this is the time I have for doing emails today. So you block it, you don't let anyone interrupt it, but that 30 minutes or whatever that time frame is for you. So your brain needs to know that it can turn off and back on. CEOs burn out faster from fragmented attention than from long hours. That splitting your attention and focus back and forth, back and forth, back and forth is absolutely mentally, cognitively draining. And so you want to make sure that you're blocking your time in a way that you can be at your best after you've rested, after you've taken care of all your physiological needs. Then you can go take care of your cognitive needs, which is your business side. Then the third is structural recovery. And this is the big one because your business model requires you to be the engine, the transmission, the fuel. No amount of bubble baths will fix that. It just won't. You cannot self-carry your way through system structural, dysfunction in your business. You might feel better in the moment, but I promise it'll hit you in the face harder if you go back. Recovery requires, in this category of structural recovery, it requires clear role defining, boundaries around access, decision filters, delegation maturity, offer simplification. And here's the truth that stings a little bit is some burnout is about grief. And so grief over the version of you that used to have more energy, that's a very real thing. It might be grief over believing success would feel different. Um, that's a big one too. Or it might be grief over realizing you built something that now needs redesign. That does not mean you failed. It means you're evolving, and we're supposed to do that. Now, let's talk about one thing that I think is really important because we're not medical doctors or anything like that. So we're not here to give you advice. So go see your doctor. But there is a difference between burnout and depression or medical fatigue. So if exhaustion is persistent or severe, or paired with like dark thoughts like hopelessness, That's beyond a leadership strategy. That's clinical, go get help. I love having a therapist. I love having counselors. I love having a life coach. Having other people around you to help you see what you're not able to see is an important thing. So if you're a CEO and you struggle with depression, make sure you have a care plan for that. You want to be able to move in and out of your seasonal depression or however that flows for you in a way that doesn't make your business go away. And so I know that that can be a really hard topic. So I just want to make sure that we touch on that for a second. Now, how do you recover as a CEO? Step one is stop glorifying depletion. That's a big one. That is not great to be like, oh, I'm so exhausted. I've been doing this and this and this and this. Oh, we're not, oh, but you're doing such a good job. No, stop doing that. Don't do that. Busy is not productive. Being busy is a choice, and it's one that hurts your entire system. So you got to be very careful about that. You want to remember that exhaustion is not a badge of honor. It's a signal to your body saying, ah, we need to rest. When you're auditing your personal life friction, like how your CEO energy shows up into your business, consider asking, where are you overextended because you haven't made a decision? Sometimes the halting on decision making can put us in a very overwhelmed state. And if we're stuck in constant overwhelmed states, you will hit a burnout. So, where are you overextended because you haven't made a decision? And where are you carrying responsibility that no longer matches your role? I love that question. Delegation is such an important CEO skill set. I think that sustainable leadership is like stress, recovery, adaptation, and growth. If you don't go in that order, the stress, recovery, adaptation, and growth, the if you if you, let's say you skip recovery, then adaptation will never happen. There's a reason that like we got the Olympics going on. There's a reason that elite athletes are training for such an intensity for something so like timely. It's so little, but the energy that they put behind getting ready for what's up to, their big event is the thing that powers them forward. And they're not doing that because they are 100% motivated, because motivation is not a feeling, it's an action. And so we always want to be in like that forward thinking lens. Can we avoid burnout? Yes. And how do we do that? Self awareness. And I think that when we get to the place where we've experienced peace in our lives, going back to a non peaceful state can be very overwhelming, and it can cause us to feel like we're going to shut down a little bit. But being self aware gives you the ability to identify your leaks. And then when you are able to identify your capacity leaks, then you can see growth in the vision, the revenue, the delivery. You can see growth in these categories. And that's what we want. And so, checking my notes and making sure I didn't miss anything. Oh, just a reminder, the auditing for your CEO gaps, you definitely don't forget to ask yourself, what is only your unique genius, because some things are going to have to stay in your court, but everything else you can offload, which is really great. Now, if you find yourself feeling like you're really overwhelmed, I have a webinar series that or a webinar that I'm getting ready to do. It's a 90-minute presentation that will help you. We're going to walk through how to audit your current model, how to get clear on who you work with and how your system should kind of go. So if you're looking for support in this area, it's free and you're welcome to join. We'll put the link in the live for you here today sometime. But I would love for you to join me. There's 4 different options to pick. 2 are in the morning, 2 in the afternoon. And they will be live, let's see, next week coming up. So stay tuned for that. It'll be on our Facebook. Now, we're over time, so just remember, here's the bottom line. You may not be burnt out, but if you are, it's not because you're weak. You're burnt out because you're leading without recalibrating your capacity. So know the capability of your business and empower yourself to make decisions to offload things that don't need to be in your hands specifically. Because the woman that you're becoming and that you see in the mirror, that you see for your future self, she doesn't work harder. She builds smarter. And you're going to see that shift as you practice being that person. So I want to encourage you, do an audit on yourself as a CEO. And if you notice anything, feel free to comment. If there's anything you want to share, I'd love to hear your stories. And thank you so much for watching today. We'll see you next week.